First reading, a reading from the second book of Kings, chapter 11, verses 1 to 4, 9 to 18, and 20. When Athaliah, mother of Ahaziah, learned that her son was dead, she promptly murdered all those of royal stock. But Jehosheba, daughter of King Jehoram and sister of Ahaziah, surreptitiously rescued Jehosh, son of Ahaziah, from among the princes who were to be murdered and put him with his nurse in the sleeping quarters. In this way she hid him from Athaliah, and he was not killed. He stayed hidden with her in the temple of Yahweh for 6 years, while Athaliah governed the country. In the seventh year, Jehoiada sent for the regimental commanders of the Syrians and the Goths and had them brought to him in the temple of Yahweh. He made a pact with them, put them on oath, then showed them the king's son. He gave them this order. The regimental commanders did everything as Jehoiada the priest had ordered, and each one brought his men, those coming on duty on the Sabbath and those going off duty on the Sabbath, and reported to Jehoiada the priest. The priest then issued the regimental commanders with the King David's spears and shields, which were kept in the temple of Yahweh. The guard then took position, each man with his weapons in his hand, from the south corner of the temple to the north corner of the temple, all round the altar and the temple. Then Jehoiada brought the king's son out, crowned him, and gave him a copy of the covenant. And they made him king and anointed him. And they clapped their hands and shouted, "Long live the king!" On hearing the people shouting, Athaliah joined the people in the temple of Yahweh. When she looked, there stood the king on a dais, as the custom was, with the officers and trumpets at the king's side. Then Athaliah tore her clothes and shouted, "Treason, treason!" Jehoiada the priest then gave the orders to the commanders in charge of the troops: "Take her out under guard and put to death anyone who follows her," for the priest had already said she must not be killed inside the temple of Yahweh. They seized her, and when she reached the houses empty to the palace, she was killed there. Jehoiada made a covenant between Yahweh, the king, and the people, that they would remain Yahweh's people, and another one between the king and the people. All the people of the country then went to the temple of Baal and demolished it. They smashed its altars and its images and killed Mathan, the priest of Baal, in front of the altars. The priest made arrangements for the security of the temple of Yahweh. All the people of the country were delighted. The city, however, made no move, and Athaliah was put to death inside the palace. This is the word of Lord. Thanks be to God. A reading from the Gospel according to St. Matthew, chapter 6, verses 19 to 23. Do not store up treasures for yourselves on earth, where moth and woodworm destroy them, and thieves can break in and steal. But store up treasures for yourselves in heaven, where neither moth nor woodworm destroys them, and thieves cannot break in and steal. For whatever your treasure is, there will your heart be too. The lamp of the body is the eye. It follows that if your eye is clear, your whole body will be filled with light. But if your eye is diseased, your whole body will be darkness. If then the light inside you is darkened, what darkness that will be!